Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I assume you can hear me well now. My name is Manny Abarca. I am the budget chair for the Jackson County Legislature. It is 6:07, so my apologies for the slight delay. We'll try and keep it as quick as we can while hearing everyone's thoughts and opinions. We have with us several legislators, several legislative offices being represented as well. So I want to acknowledge some of the folks that are in the room so that you know who's who. We have our legislators that are up here. Do you want to introduce yourselves? Is that, I mean, I don't have to talk the whole time. You know? We'll do it that way. And maybe what your district is? That'll give more time for me to get the list too.
I'm Vanessa Husky. I represent the 2nd District.
Charlie Franklin, the 3rd District.
Donna Payton, 2nd District at large, so I represent all of Jackson County.
All right, and with us as well, we have representatives from Sean Smith's office, and Charlie Franklin. I know George is here from your office. Rebecca is here from the 1st District office, my office, and Calvin, oh yes, Calvin. So I walked in with Calvin, I don't know how I missed that. From Legislator Payton's office. Legislators Marshall and Chairman McGee are on their way. I think one's coming from a child's game and the other's coming from a school board meeting. So that is the status of folks. Beyond that, we have from the administrative side, our county administrator walking in now, Troy Schulte. The prosecutor's office is here, and also a capture of combat to some extent. We have, the sheriff's office obviously is here as well. Thank you all for being here. We have Gerard, who's the quasi-governmental from University Health. Alderman Joe Runyons from Grandview, city administrator from Grandview. So thank you all for being here. Our intent is, as we have a budget process, we had 30 days to budget as we came into the legislature. So as of next Monday, our process will hopefully be submitted and complete. But in the process of learning about the budget, understanding what's in the budget, we wanted to create an opportunity for public engagement because there had been times in the past where folks have been invited to come down to the county, but we wanted to create an opportunity for us to come out to the community to hear priorities from a different stretch. So please share your thoughts, comments, questions. To some degree we'll answer after the fact, but in accordance with sunshine laws, we will not be discussing. We cannot discuss because of the quantity of folks who will be here. So we will be listening. So please let us know your thoughts. And without further ado, you have 5 minutes. I have a timer. Let's kick things off with Mr. Michael Lally. And I believe Rebecca has the microphone, so.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to stand right here?
Sure, if you wouldn't mind coming, I think, before the camera.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Sorry.
I'm on.
I
Yeah,
should
just
sit
if
to
you
the
don't-
side of the camera.
Yeah,
Okay.
to the side of the camera.
Is this okay? Okay, very good. Mr. Chairman, my name is Michael Lally. I'm with a company by the name of Replica. We're a company headquartered here in the Kansas City area that provides data focused on the movement of people, goods, and dollars, and we provide this data to state and local governments. I'm appearing before you this evening to urge you to consider budgeting $100,000 for the purchase of a data platform for the use by your public works, park and recreation, GIS, assessment, and administrative departments. State and local governments across the country are recognizing more and more the need to be more data-driven and have reliable and easy access to sources of data that can become useful information in their governing activities. When it comes to understanding the movement of people and goods and dollars, a number of local governmental agencies are making use of such a platform. These include the City of Kansas City, Missouri, the Clay County government, the City of Lee Summit, Wright Casey Development Corporation, the City of Overland Park, Kansas, the City of Olathe, Kansas, and the City of Topeka, Kansas. There's a number of potential use cases for such a data platform for the county to better understand economic activity in near real time throughout the county, allowing for better decisions regarding roadway maintenance, providing insights for those visiting and using park facilities throughout the county, and providing demographic information so that county programs that receive federal dollars and fall under the federal government's Justice 40 initiative can comply. Regarding funding sources, ARPA dollars, if they are still available, are able to be used for the purchase of such a platform. In summary, you and your staff need the best information available to properly serve the citizens and businesses of the county. A data platform, such as I described, can provide such information and allow the county to have access to data and information that many leading local governments have determined is necessary to meet today's challenges. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we cannot.
Understood. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much.
Thank you all. Sorry that we've got some very strict rules of one at a time discussions around the budget, which makes this process even more challenging. So yeah, I think we'll continue down the route, and questions and answers, please, after the fact, for whomever you believe to be kind of your arbiter of opportunity there. Moving on to further within our schedule here, Doug Langner.
Hi, everyone. I live in First District. Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. Doug Langner. I live in First District at 600 East 8th Street downtown, and I'm here to represent Hope Faith Homeless Assistance Campus at 705 Virginia. So most importantly, I'm here tonight to speak for those who aren't here to speak for themselves. Tonight, we are going to shelter. It's the first time Hope Faith has done this. Last night was 134 people. I need to corroborate this because I don't want to say anything untruthful, but it's my understanding since December 1st, we're more than doubling the rest of our shelters in Kansas City, and we're just doing this as an emergency shelter. We were contracted for 80 beds with the city of Kansas City. I think we've only done that once, meaning we have been over that number every night since December 1st. As of January 11th, we've served 4,142 people that are houseless and are sleeping on a cot or on our floor. A homeless assistance campus is not the sexiest thing to fund. It's the real work of making sure that people that don't have another place to go to the bathroom, to get a shower, to get a fresh set of clothing. But I can tell you this, that every part of Jackson County today, I'm a little tired if I'm honest, today was the point in time count to where we go out throughout all of the Kansas City metro area and count people that are houseless. There's not one part of Jackson County that's not affected by homelessness. And so I just asked the county to consider a small line item. Last year, and I applaud the county, I began as executive director on Martin Luther King Day last year, and we were in need. And I applaud Mr. Schulte and some of the Jackson County legislators that helped us get a small $50,000 operations grant. What I might consider and ask you is, could that go up to $100,000 or $150,000? What will we do with that? We will, this year our numbers have increased exponentially. We serve breakfast and lunch, and we're doing it at 30 cents on the meal. What homeless people outreach, you're going to hear this in about any other thing that's doing outreach, especially in social service. We need people and we need operational funding. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking you to beat our whole budget, but might you consider $150,000 for Hope Faith? We stepped forward to shelter a lot of people this year, and we want to do that in the future, but we also do this 365 days a year. So that's my ask. Very simple, maybe up to $150,000. And we're willing to engage and work with so many parts of our county. One other thing we did do this year is we did a thing, Clean Up KC, where we're sending homeless people that we are paying $18 an hour to go out and help do litter mitigation in our communities. And we're trying to work to not only get a job, but a just wage job where people can afford their own house. They can afford to support their own kids. So many people stay at our shelter so they can save money to send to their family that might be separated from each other, so that they can do basic things. So that's my ask, and I just thank you for your time.
I don't know why I took this off. Thank you, Doug. All right, moving on to Sarah, and I'm gonna mess up this last name, but try Hemi?
Yep.
All right.
You can stay at your.
Oh, yeah,
Stay at my
sorry.
area. Okay. It's always weird to hear yourself on a mic. First, thank you for having these meetings and providing an opportunity to your constituents to have their voices heard. Appreciate that. It's the first time the legislature has done that, so that feels like a pretty big deal. Really happy. Next, I'd like to kind of get the temperature of the room on a topic. Could my neighbors please raise their hands if they are in support of reproductive equity, aka access to healthcare services that may not be offered in our state? Reproductive equity. Great. So, I support funding the reproductive equity program that assists people with transportation, lodging, and childcare costs for those seeking access to healthcare services not available in Missouri. I support the right for all citizens to make choices for their own lives, their own bodies, and their own futures. This is an essential program to ensure that all people have the means to follow through on a deeply personal choice and be the director of their own future and the future of their family. We may hear opposition later tonight, but if you weren't there on Tuesday's the reason I'm saying this. I'd also like to ask you to please consider funding and implementing the Blue River Parkway Master Plan. I know you've heard me ask you this before, and I'll keep asking. The Blue River Parkway is the fourth largest park in the county at 2,400 acres. The only parks larger are Fleming Park at Lake Jacomo, Longview Lake Park, and Blue Springs Reservoir. The community is doing its part. Nonprofits and volunteers have spent the last several decades working to clean up the river, remove invasive species, restore native habitat, and have built and maintained the 60+ miles of hiking and mountain biking trails that run from Martin City all the way to Swope. My husband is actually building trail tonight in Martin City, as he does every Thursday night. The hiking and mountain biking trails alone are a multi-million-dollar amenity that the community has built for free, thanks to volunteers. It's an amenity for people of all ages, all backgrounds, families, hikers, trail runners, mountain bikers, and horseback riders. It's the largest contiguous, hand-built, single-track trail system located wholly within an urban metro in the country. This has value, so let's fund and implement the master plan to keep this valuable asset safe, accessible, and enjoyable for all. How much time do I have?
2 minutes, 14 seconds.
I might relinquish my time, but yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Thank you. And yes, you can absolutely give your time back by all means. Robert Thorpe.
Oh, and I can come to you. That was easier.
Yeah, sorry, please stay in your seats. I guess that's easier for our camera scenario to record.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Thorpe. I didn't prepare no speech or anything. I just found out through some mutual friends that are small business owners that have been collaborating to do something in the area of Westport. The Westport area, where I have a small gallery that I've been trying to get open since the pandemic, and it's been a struggle. In Westport, I'm sure everyone knows that Westport's an entertainment district, so mainly it's alcohol, partying, restaurants. So I have an art gallery in Westport, and it's been kind of difficult to support the local artists because not a lot of people are coming in buying art pieces. Some artists think the art's worth millions, so it makes it difficult for someone just average to come in and buy a piece. But I have about 6,000 artists, ranging from music, dance, culinary, athletes, They all come to my space, and it's a sanctuary where they can hang out. They don't have to drink. Sometimes we have events where we cater, but the most important thing, I think, it's a place where people come to feel safe. And we need funds. And I think most of the artists, hence the word starving artist, needs funds. So what we're doing is pulling our community artists together, other artists, galleries, and things of that nature, to come together and just support our local artists. So I'm here to support all of you guys' ideas and agendas, which I think they're all great, but we need to be doing this a little more often and get the smaller guys involved. So I'm one of those small guys. That's it.
Thank you, Robert. Billy Zellner. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks. My name is Billy Zaire.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, it gets butchered every time. I support Rob. Rob's gallery, I mean, it's more than just a little gallery. It's a beautiful spot. It's probably the most beautiful storefront in Westport. I mean, it's amazing. And he does a lot for artists. I mean, shoot, so much. I can't even thank him enough. And he needs fun. Yeah, he really does. Because I see his struggle every day. And the only reason why I know how much, he's going through is because of what I created before. And it's a struggle. I mean, shoot, small business, people are struggling. There's no doubt about it. There's no way around it. I mean, all the little guys are struggling. And so, I mean, all I can really add to what I said last week, well, also I do want to clarify, because I was a little tiny bit nervous. My timeline might have got a little jumbled, but all the facts were in there, and it just, go figure it out. But if you have a question, I know that he does not. But anyway, I support Rob. I support everybody in here. Small businesses, just do the right thing, please, and allocate those funds to small businesses, please. Thank you.
Billy, what funds, how much?
Oh, well, to Rob, I think that, to the Untapped KC, I mean, they could benefit, and the community could benefit greatly from $1 million to Rob, to his facility. I mean, for what they do for artists, I'd say that would be great. It'd be amazing. For everybody else, I fully support all that, and I think that Hope Faith needs more than $150,000. Please, they could get like $2 million for them. Please and thank you. I personally will just allot. How much time do I have?
3 minutes.
3 more minutes for that, for real. Because I just went through that, and without people like him, man, you wouldn't be seeing me. I certainly wouldn't be looking decent like I am now. I look like I got shot in the face like 3 months ago, for real. I really did. And these people like him supported me and made me feel like a whole person again. So thank you. How do I talk about that for 2 more minutes? But I'm gonna give back my time because I don't want to take it from anybody else who needs to speak. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Oh man, I forgot to talk about him. Sorry.
Josh Kimbermer. Kimbrough, my apologies. By the way, this is the script that I'm reading, so whatever's written here is what I read, and that's not Kimbrough.
So yeah, my name is Josh Kimbrough. Again, small business owner, ecosystem builder, researcher. I've had the pleasure of being around Rob, being around with Untapped Society, being around Nigel Johnson with Hood Hope Foundation, being around Billy Zaire with his veteran movement, and being around a lot of artists, being around Saj Kaya, Ambassador Saj with the United Trade Council. And one thing is for sure, that businesses are the backbone of our culture here in Kansas City, our community, and they need support. Like, even Camelo with the pop-up gallery I brought here. I brought at least 4 different businesses here with myself just to support this movement, because it's very important that we stand behind our businesses, because our businesses are really the bread and butter that's really growing Kansas City. It has to do with mental health. It has to do with housing and making sure people are off the streets. It has to do with the beautification of our community. It has to do with stopping crime. So I do support Ezzy's small business proposal in the tune of $15.5 million to be allocated to small businesses. And that's pretty much all I had to say. I'll give back my time right now. So.
I saw.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So, Miss Christine Hasso.
Hi, so I'm Christina Hasso with Guadalupe Centers. We are in, and I'm sure maybe I might need to get corrected, but I think our districts are 1st and 3rd, where our offices are. We serve every single district, clients in every district. And I actually had a question. I don't know if this is the right place to ask it or not, so I'm going to shoot. We would love to tap into funding or grants, but usually never can, because as a nonprofit, we do our taxes and our audits different. So is there ever a way to put most current? Is that a question that I can ask? The most current audit.
I would suggest we follow up. I know Troy's shaking his head and giving me some signals, so I think that's the place probably for that question after the fact. But
Okay, sorry, I didn't know whether I could ask that or not. And Hope Faith, you guys have a ton of clients that help, or that we are also helping, and we really do appreciate you guys. Are kind of new and been around for a little bit, but we've been around for over 100 years, and we really, really appreciate the work that you do in the community. And the arts, everybody that is here representing the arts, that is so important, especially the mental health piece. We have got a new endeavor with Jackson County Children's Services, and it's kind of mind-blowing how many kiddos and people are suffering with mental health right now. And we've got access to therapists, but that art piece would be amazing. So we would support you guys as well and hope that will get through. And I don't have anything else to say other than I'm here to support.
as a reminder, how much suggested for?
Was it one? Oh, I forgot what he suggested. I think it was 1.5
Okay,
million?
just supporting them. not-
Yes, yes. And I'll give my time back.
As a reminder for everyone, it is very hard to budget a dollar amount that you have not requested. So please make sure and give us some suggestions as we navigate this, because I think I don't want to interpret any intent. So please make some level of plea, and we can further discuss as we get that. But I think it's most fruitful if we're able to talk about things through numbers and projects. So for what for, and this is not an unlimited pot that we can take from, but the reality of knowing this is for blank would be helpful. John Simpson.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Chairman, Budget Committee members, I am John Simpson. I'm a resident of Kansas City, Missouri, and Vice President of Our Revolution.
The microphone, will you use the microphone?
Yeah. Hold it up to your, closer to your face. Act like you're going to eat that.
Is that better?
That's a lot better.
Yeah. I am John Simpson, and I'm a resident of Kansas City, Missouri, and Vice President of Our Revolution, Kansas City, Missouri. And I thank you for this opportunity to speak to the Legislative Budget Committee. It is not right to let the Royals and Chiefs treat Jackson County and Kansas City, Missouri as their piggy bank. The capital of Jackson County is the citizens and their tax base. Their capital is votes and the tax base. Jackson County is a real bank. A real bank is involved in the details of its investments. Likewise, the citizens of Kansas City, Jackson County, and Missouri need to know the details of their support for new and renovated stadiums for the Royals, Chiefs, and the 2026 World Cup. The citizens of Jackson County deserve and demand a direct return on their investment and not some speculative, uncertain economic development plan that has trickle-down economics. This is another failed Sam Brownback policy. The amount of the investment of Jackson County in the Royals, Chiefs, and the 2026 World Cup requires this direct return on Jackson County's investment and one that is fair for our citizens. Therefore, we ask the following question to determine the amount of the investment. The answer to that question will affect the 23 budget and future budgets. There is a limit on the amount that Jackson County can spend on all its programs and services. Money spent on stadiums that benefits extra wealthy Royals and Chiefs owners reduces the amount that is needed for vital, essential services and programs that improve the lives of Jackson County citizens. Stadiums are not such a vital, essential program. Jackson County must provide essentials and not spend taxpayers' money on anything for the extra wealthy owners and the World Cup. The question I have is, what is the best estimate, and this is a little bit in the future, but it still is pertinent to the current situation. What is the best estimate in dollars of the amount of the investment that Jackson County and the Sports Authority will be obligated to pay for the benefit of the Royals, Chiefs, and the 2026 World Cup in each of these following 3-year periods, 2023 to 2026, 2027 to 2031, and 2032 to 2052, or the end of any lease or similar new agreement. If you do not know the answer to this question tonight, and I probably imagine you know it at this point, I urge you to give this information to the citizens of Jackson County as soon as possible. And I ask that you do not increase in the 2023 budget of Jackson County any additional amounts or new amounts for the Kansas City Royals and the Kansas City Chiefs. Thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Simpson, can you repeat the years you had requested?
Excuse me?
Can you repeat the years that you had requested? You said 27 to 31, 32 to 52. Oh, even better. Perfect. And I guess that's another, thank you. Another opportunity is if you have to leave, unfortunately, before you're able to speak, or you want to not public speak, you can drop off any testimony to Rebecca or Angie, or you can submit it as well after the meeting. So please make sure you can do that so that we hear your suggestions. So welcome to my colleagues, Legislator Marshall and Chairman McGee. So I need to make sure I follow my appropriate 7 list here. So my apologies for not following the right one here. And maybe our staff can number the bottom to which direction first. I have to go back to Mayor Leonard Jones, if he is present, or Jamal as well. You're both on the list, so I'll let you determine it. I don't think the mayor's here yet. But Jamal, would you like to speak?
I thought that I checked no, but
oh, okay, sorry.
I'm happy to.
Sorry.
Happy to.
Well, I guess that I can also rub and Joe if you like. So sorry, I know it's.
For those of us who are in the city management business, I would rather have our elected officials speak,
okay,
right? If you feel like it. But otherwise, no comments.
Okay. Sorry to do that. I have another list that has your all's name on it, so I wanted to make sure and follow through here. Ms. Kristen Wood.
Good evening, Chairman Amarca, members of the legislature. My name is Kristen Wood. I'm here representing Goodwill of Western Missouri and Eastern Kansas. We are located in the crossroads at 800 East 18th Street in Kansas City, but we also serve through both our retail stores and our workforce development programs the entirety of Jackson County. We have been providing employment services and occupational training for this community for 129 years. And just last year, we served nearly 1,800 people and supported 700 individuals in accessing new employment. We provide a wide variety of services, including digital skills training and digital navigation, as well as occupational training for technology-based jobs, and employment services and even reentry services for folks who are reentering from the criminal justice system. But the need is great, and additional investment is required for job training, but also in a wide variety of organizations that provide essential wraparound services. For example, we recently completed a community needs assessment within the 3-mile area surrounding our location in the crossroads, and just some things that were confirmed for us include 17,000 people do not have a high school diploma just in that 3-mile radius. Over 6,500 people are unemployed, and lack of health and mental health services as well as transportation are the top 2 barriers reported by respondents in terms of why they can't earn and keep employment. Yet community residents expressed a desire for more access to short-term job training and adult education. And so with that, we have 3 different recommendations. One is that we support continued and increased investment in community-based organizations that are providing short-term job training and community-based organizations that are providing essential wraparound services like transportation, housing, and healthcare, and we've heard from some of those organizations tonight. We see that there's $3 million allocated to the outside agencies fund through the health fund. That's the same as last year, so any amount that you can increase would be helpful. I saw in the actuals that almost 1/3 of the outside agency funding that was allocated wasn't spent last year, so maybe there's a way that we could consider some sort of mid-year reallocation or sharing of funds across awardees just to make sure that money is getting to the people who really need it. Additionally, we saw that $6 million is being allocated to the Combat Community Crime Prevention Programming, which is higher than 2022, and we're very supportive of that increase for treatment. Moreover, our second recommendation would be to make additional job training investments. For example, Goodwill's Artemis Institute provides job training in short-term stints for technology-based jobs. An additional investment this year of something like $250,000, either from the Health Fund or the ARPA surplus, would allow us to continue to provide our certified manufacturing associate training in collaboration with Missouri Enterprise, as well as launch a new technology-based program. Currently, our manufacturing training graduation rate is 85%, and our placement rate for graduates is 82%, with a starting average wage of $17.50. So we're seeing great success, and additional investment would empower people in this community to get living wage jobs. And our third recommendation would be to add Goodwill to the outside agencies list. I know that you don't contemplate grants through the budgeting process, but similar to our colleague from Guadalupe Centers, we have also experienced challenges in submitting the application because of the deadline and not having our audit completed on time. So large organizations in particular, you can request an extension from the IRS to not have your audit done until November 15th, but the applications are always due before that. So I would just request maybe considering an extension in the application or an opportunity to submit the most recent audit and then update it later in the instance. So I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you, and know that you can't take questions, but would invite conversation after the fact.
Just for a follow-up, and Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, some of those allocations for the outside agencies are yet to be completed. So I think we've got some more fundings that are pending and encumbered. So just as the FYI, since you pulled up the budget side. Tracy Rice.
Good evening. I am in District 3 with Charlie Franklin. And I live in an unincorporated area of Jackson County, better known as Blue Summit. Jackson County is responsible for Blue Summit, and for decades now, we have gone without. No one takes care of us. For the last 3 years, I have been begging and begging for things to get done in Blue Summit. Finally, Mr. Franklin has came and helped out. We've done community cleanups. We need new streets. Our streets are horrible. We also need ditches. We have no drainage system in our neighborhood. When it rains, the rain runs right into people's yards, down into their basements, and floods them. We have nothing. We also need a new sewer system. The last thing Jackson County ever did for Blue Summit was in the early 80s when they came through and put sewers in. Haven't seen nothing done since then. We need streetlights. If we have streetlights in Blue Summit, we might not have as much crime as what we have going on up there. 30 arson fires in a month. If we had streetlights, that wouldn't have happened. And I'm not talking brush fires, I am talking homes. We need codes enforcement to work with us. Codes enforcement, they don't come out and do nothing. Those are just some of our needs. There is a whole list of things that I could just go on and on and on. Our biggest want is a community center. We have nowhere for our community to go to have meetings other than at our fire department. And there is sometimes that we're not able to have our meetings at the fire department. I started doing community monthly meetings right before COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I was not able to do any more. We just had one right before Thanksgiving, I believe it was. And that was the first one since COVID that I was able to do. I am very active in my community. Mr. Anderson and Mr. Franklin can both tell you that. I will be emailing constantly. You will hear from me on a daily basis until I start seeing something done for Blue Summit. We don't have we don't have a food pantry close enough for our people in our community to be able to get to. A community center would benefit our children. They would have a safe place to go after school to get help with homework. For our homeless people that we have in our community, which we have a lot, just like everywhere else. But we would be able to maybe bring them in and give them a hot lunch. You know, give them a place to stay if it's cold. A food pantry, medical, there's just all kinds of ideas that we need. If we had a community center, we could set up job search places for our unemployed people. We could even do AANA meetings for our community members that are struggling. And believe me, we do have them. So that's, decades we have been neglected by the county. And I think's enough. We need something, and Mr. Franklin realizes that also. He's seen it. He has worked on 2 different cleanups with us. And there for the longest, we were only getting 1 cleanup a month, or 1 cleanup a year, excuse me. And that was in the spring. And now we get to do 2 neighborhood cleanups, and that's in the spring and in the fall. And how much that's gonna take, to be honest with you, I'll take whatever we can get, as long as we can see some progress. We are your responsibility, you're not ours.
right. Brad Lucht.
Howdy.
Hey there.
I didn't know what this meeting was going to be about, but since you're giving away money, I'd like to put in a pitch for the Kansas City Community Gardens. Yeah. So right now, they support 670 community gardens here in Kansas City. You reach a lot of people in food deserts, reach a lot of kids in schools that they don't know where their vegetables or their fruits come from, but now they do because of these community garden efforts. So I should tell you that I'm not here in an official capacity, but it just, again, since you're giving away money, that if you would give $30 per community garden, that would be $20,000. That's going to buy them seeds, help buy plants, help them plant fruit trees. I feel it's a fairly small ask for the amount of people that it would impact. And that's my talk. Oh, and I live here in Great Bridge.
I'm navigating too much technology up here. Viola Maxwell.
I'm Mark that I.
Oh, okay.
But I support Brad. And Hope House. And Tracy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Johnson.
All right. So, Jeff Jolly.
Thank you. I've got a little background for that.
You?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the legislature. Jeff Jolly, I'm the executive director at LISC Greater Kansas City. For those who aren't aware, LISC is a community development financial institution in our community. We've been around for about 40 years now. We are a national organization based in New York. We have offices in about 40 cities and do work in about 2,500 rural counties. For those who aren't familiar with the CDFI, we've got another CDFI represented in AllCap. There's a handful of CDFIs in Kansas City, but think of us as a bank with a mission, if you will. So we serve, census tracts that have low, moderate income families. We work with people who have historically been underinvested or disinvested over the years to try and affect better outcomes, whether they be health or economic outcomes or housing outcomes. So LISC works really in three kind of areas, particular pillars, one being affordable housing, one being financial stability or wealth building, and one being economic development. We've got a few folks here who are going to speak about some small business needs, and so I don't want to belabor that point, but I would like to lend our voice in support of kind of the small business requests. We've seen during COVID significant disinvestment and hardship, particularly for entrepreneurs of color, over the past few years. And so any resources I think that the county is able to allocate to support those small businesses as they recover and grow will lead to economic benefits in the long term. What I do want to share a little bit about is around housing. This is a space that we've been spending a fair amount of time talking about affordable housing. So to give you some context, Jackson County has about 300,000 households. About 100,000 households are housing cost burdened. That means they're spending more than 30% of their income on housing costs alone. It is the greatest use of people's budget for about 99% of people in America is housing costs. Some people are spending greater than 50% of their income on just housing costs alone. If you're a renter, if you're a person of color, if you're a person with low income, you are likely spending twice as much as others on housing costs alone. That means that you don't have then those resources available for healthcare needs, for food, for education costs, and transportation. So we believe that housing is a critical piece of kind of all of these issues and that there is an interconnectedness that hasn't necessarily always been appreciated between housing and economic opportunity, between health outcomes and more. I would share for consideration, we have worked with other jurisdictions, both locally and across the country, around how to use ARPA funds in particular to support small businesses, to support housing. In the housing space, for example, I would suggest consideration for being bold. You could set aside, for example, $2.5 million for a minor home repair program that could be targeted at seniors and people with low income to try and help keep them in their homes. Preservation strategy is probably the most cost-effective way of ensuring affordable housing. What we've seen is people end up not being able to make minor repairs to their home, and then they end up escalating, building upon each other, the house starts to fall into disrepair, and then now we're needing a whole new unit built at a much higher cost than had we just gone in and fixed up the house initially. So I would encourage consideration for working with our existing minor home repair partners around a targeted minor home repair program for seniors and people with low income. I think $2.5 million would probably get at least 350 homes, some significant support. The other consideration I would urge is around a housing trust fund. We've worked, as you may have heard, for those in the metro, Kansas City has implemented a housing trust fund. We worked closely with them over the last 2 years to craft that. I serve on their housing trust fund board. They allocated $25 million of ARP money to the housing trust fund. We would encourage the county to consider at least $12.5 million for a housing trust fund. We believe that that would provide resources to support at least 500 families or 500 additional units of affordable housing. Keeping in mind, as I started, 100,000 households in Jackson County are housing cost burdened right now. So the amount of funds that are needed to remedy this solution are not going to come in one budget cycle by any means. But if we get the process started, we believe we can start to make a dent for future generations. So I appreciate the consideration and look forward to working with the county. Thank you.
Well done on time. All right, looks like Abraham Sisse.
Hello, my name is Abraham Sisse, and I'm here today to support Ezzy because 2 years ago I met Ezzy and I was planning to move all my businesses to another state because during COVID I hired probably 65 people in the middle of COVID because I wanted to retain everyone, and I worked at a restaurant and able to do that. And then to come and find out that there is almost $15 million being allocated to other areas was a big letdown for me. And again, I came here to support Ezzy, but after hearing so many people begging for basic needs, to me, you know, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm genuinely speechless. I wasn't expecting all, you know, what I heard here today. So we definitely need to do something to change that. But again, I have an agency that does paid media. I've brought companies like Marvel to Kansas City. I've brought Disney. I've worked with so many different people within the community, but still I was working at a restaurant in order to afford even having my own employees. And on the production side, we do stories around mental health. We go around the city to do videos of other individuals in order for them to just get the basic needs in order to have insurance for mental health or just understand the system around mental health. And just a few months ago, I had an opportunity to meet a few council members in order to fund one of my projects, which was, it took a whole year to even have a meeting. And again, I don't know whether you can tell, I don't really understand the whole system. I like to stay in my own space and just do what I can. And I fund, you know, most of the projects that I work on because you know, I'm able to bring in sponsors and keep doing the things that I'm doing. But then to find out that there is so much money being allocated to other sectors where people around the room are just saying, we just need the basic needs and just to have the dignity for you guys to do the things that you are going to do. So again, I came here just wanting to talk about Ezzy's proposal, but then I don't know what you can tell. I'm actually shaking as I'm talking because I did not understand what I was gonna hear today. And we're here today just asking for the basic needs. So I don't know how much time I have left. My hand is getting a bit heavier. But again, so on the mental health side, I'm working on a few legislation as well, because 7 years ago is when I saw a therapist for the first time in my life, and I had a really bad stutter before seeing a therapist. So to me, I'm an example that therapy works. So that's why I do films now about mental health, and those films are 100% funded by the people that I come across, or someone that wants to tell their stories and they jump on board to tell their own stories. So to me, I'm going to say it again, to find out that there's almost $15 million that could go to small business owners and communities to help them, like this gentleman who's asking for $20 per farm, like, really? It doesn't make sense. So I'm just urging you guys to listen to people and actually do the things that people are asking. I fortunately work with a lot of big companies, and I see where the money is coming from. Sometimes it's coming from the people in this room, the taxpayers that are funding those projects. And I don't want to name drop, but I know you all know what I'm talking about. So again, please, let's just listen to people and give them the resources that they need, because we're on the ground working every day, but we all just have the dignity that every other human being is seeking on a daily basis. So thank you.
It looks like Zikoe. My apologies if that wasn't correct. I'm always stand for to be corrected. I'm working on 4 different lists, so I'm trying it. Yeah. Okay. Let's get you. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. Sorry for that.
All right. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Ezekiel Wanganga, and I'm here to support EZI, getting funds for small business in Kansas City. I don't think it's a secret that small business in KC are the foundation of this city. If you look around from this library, we have Cookies and Creamery, we have Coors Coffees, are also businesses in Kansas City that build our city around. Like, I don't have to say too much for you to know that this city is built by small businesses. Myself, I'm a videographer. I produce content around entrepreneurship in KC. And I'm working on a docu-series for entrepreneurs, especially because the draft is coming to KC. But doing a documentary, needs money. That means if I can get funded, I have to do 2 jobs to be able to fund those projects. Just like Abraham said, like I'm doing driving jobs just to be able to, pursue this vision to help entrepreneurs and highlight them. And Ezzy is always on the run around trying to get, funding for entrepreneurs. So I'm here asking that $15 million be given to entrepreneurs in KC, just because, I don't need to say too much. Starting they were all small businesses in Kansas City before they could become big. We are really struggling. It's I think about 18% of small businesses closing in Kansas City or over a year. And over 10 years, that goes 6-7% in Missouri as a whole. So if those small businesses had money, they wouldn't close down. And if we had support, we wouldn't have working 2 jobs. Every small business owner I know has 2 or 3 jobs that they're working to be able to feed their family. So all we're asking is the basic need, just to be able to support our vision, which helps the city as well. So thank you.
All right, so just to clarify, if you were on a list and feel like you should have been somewhere else, see Rebecca and Angie in the back there communicating to me back and forth. And I've worked on 6 lists now, looks like. So I'm doing my best here, so thank you for your patience. But yeah, so Ruben Alonzo.
Good evening, Ruben Alonzo, CEO of AltCap. We're a community development financial institution of CDFI, based in Kansas City, but serve all of Missouri. So good evening, thanks for your service. To those who are first-time legislators, congratulations on a successful campaign. Look forward to working with all of you. I'm here representing CDFIs, which my colleague Jeff explained what CDFIs do. Also here representing AltCap and our sister organization, Community Capital Fund, as well as small businesses. I'm not going to speak for small business. I think they've done a great job themselves articulating the need that still exists to support small businesses. AltCap, we want to be a solution to help the county to support those small businesses that continue to struggle, continue to need access to capital, continue to need resources to keep our neighborhoods thriving, to create jobs, to be a catalyst for communities across the county. So AltCap is a mission impact-driven CDFI. We focus on providing accessible, patient, flexible capital to small businesses. Like I said, we're very mission and impact-driven. So we serve businesses that are overlooked, underserved by traditional financial institutions or banks. So we get capital to where it's needed most. Those are entrepreneurs that cannot get a loan from a bank. We've got a track record, an infrastructure, capabilities to get capital to where it's needed the most. Just in the last 3 years, especially during COVID, we stepped up and made capital very accessible to small businesses. So between 2020 and 2022, we've deployed over $13 million in small business and microloans, $5 million through a COVID Small Business Relief and Recovery Loan Fund that was a multi-stakeholder initiative with business and civic leaders, philanthropy, to get capital to businesses that needed it during COVID, that needed to weather that storm. We actually got funds out on the street before PPP loans. We were also a PPP lender, made $8 million available in PPP funds to small businesses, again, acting as a CDFI, serving those small businesses that couldn't get a PPP loan from their banks. So we feel we serve a critical need in this community. Again, want to be supportive to the county, work with the county, be a partner to the county to get capital to many small businesses throughout the county that need it. Asking you to fulfill your commitment to use the $20 million that you committed to the federal government to support small businesses. I stand ready, AltCap stands ready, the KC or Kansas City CDFI Coalition, which Jeff Jolly is a part of. We have a number of other CDFIs. We all stand committed to help you get those funds to where they're needed most. And again, just fulfill your commitment that you made to the federal government with those ARPA dollars, that $20 million that was set aside, that you wanted to set aside to commit to small business and supporting small businesses, whether it's through resources to help them, provide them technical assistance, business development services, or provide them loans. We're ready to do that. This is something that counties, municipalities, all over the country did over the last 3 years. We want to show that we can do that here too and support our small business community. Also here to support Ezzy Redwood and the Small Business Council of Kansas City and their request that you also, again, commit that $20 million to support small businesses. Thank you so much.
Mr. Nigel Johnson.
Hello, everybody. All right, I'm Nigel Johnson, fourth generation real estate investor, property manager, but I also am a person, this is my 24th year, and about halfway through my career, I kind of realized that social impact was a hugely important piece of who I was and my principles and things like that. So what we began doing was finding ways that we could run our business in a way where we can assist people with affordable housing. We started hiring homeless people and just doing all types of things to try to offer opportunities for people. 2017, we started a 501c3 nonprofit called the Hood Hope Foundation, where it started off with us mentoring people that was in prison. When they get out, we house them, we give them the new opportunities. And we spend a lot of time helping people in those types of situations. And we quickly realized that besides helping people that found themselves in trouble, we knew that our work wasn't done, okay? So what we started doing at that point was working with children, okay? Working with children, we had a contract with Lincoln with the Center School District, where we went into 4th and 5th grade classes teaching financial literacy, entrepreneurship, homeownership, budgeting, credit, those types of things so they would have opportunities, because I wanted to show them examples of what success can look like. You know, that success can look like them, right? And look like all of us, right? So what we began to do, obviously COVID happened and we had to shut down a lot of our financial literacy classes. And we also got to talking to a lot of other business owners with us being in the real estate field. We talked to a lot of people in plumbing and electric, and I know some people were here Tuesday, so some of y'all might have heard some of this. But again, you know, we started working with them, so we heard all the stories about how their businesses were suffering, you know, how the pandemic impacted them. And we try to help them in many ways. Some of those same business owners, contractors, and people that were struggling themselves and had to decide, do I pay my employees or do I feed my children, right? They still would find the time to go volunteer and help with our neighborhood cleanups, right? So all these neighborhoods that we're talking about out here that need services and need support and have been forgotten about and things like that, we started looking for solutions from within. Like, what can we do? Right? How do we support each other? And sure, it was all types of legislation that was passed to provide maybe rent assistance or PPPs and all these types of things. But again, like this brother mentioned, not everybody qualified for that. There's not a lot of support for small businesses out here. We've heard stories left and right all over this room since we sat down here. And a lot of what's being asked for, we have to remember that these are small businesses. They don't have 500 employees. They have a mission. They have a purpose, you know. Just to be clear, I'm here to support Ezzy's plan, okay? I believe in it. It makes sense to me. We need some support, and it has to come from us. We believe in the county. You know, we've sat here and worked all over the country doing things. Again, I'm the first certified affordable housing provider in Kansas City. We have a lot more now, but I'm the first in Kansas City, Missouri. Right? And that's how much I believe in this. And I understand home ownership provides stability for the children. Without a stable home, you know, you can't separate housing from health. Right? We've been talking about mental health. We've been talking about all these things. I'm supposed to have an agenda I'm supposed to go through right here, but I'm speaking from the heart right now. So hopefully y'all forgive me a little bit, okay? But you can't separate those things. We've all seen the statistics, right? We understand that children need a stable home that they can grow up in. I'm sitting there talking to them about, hey, this is what you can do with your career. This is who you can be. This is who you can be when you grow up. And this is what you can do for your family and things like that. And they're worried about, what am I going to eat tonight? Right? You know, they're having to get jobs and things at young ages and stuff rather than focusing on school. And we have to be able to provide these opportunities so their parents can be the ones that's working. Right? But where do those jobs come from? It comes from the small business owners. Right? We have to look at all of our neighboring counties out here and seeing what they're doing to support their small businesses. 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, 30 million. That's just our neighboring counties. You know, not to mention if we look elsewhere around the country, Jackson County. Forgive me. We want to be a world-class county. We have all these things coming, the draft and the World Cup and all these types of things. What do we want to be known for? Do we want to be known for all of our businesses leaving because they're not getting the proper support? And then what leaves next? The jobs? You know, then who else suffers? The children? When we're sitting there, when we're in these classes teaching these children about these things, they want to see examples of other small businesses that succeeded. And that can only happen with the support of you guys. So, thank you for your time.
Jeff Frakes.
All right, hold a little further away. All right, my name is Jeff Fraze with Shady Fraze Farm. I also go by Jeff the Farmer. I speak pretty bluntly about some issues like addiction and suicide, so I'm just pre-warning you. I'm gonna do my best to keep it in 5 minutes. I'm gonna try really hard, but this is probably one of the more amazing stories I've ever heard my own self. So, on September 16th, 2020, my sister, Stephanie, my only sibling, went to her ex-husband's house, gave her 17-year-old son a hug, went into the other room, got the gun out of the safe, and shot herself. with her 17-year-old son in the next room. We were extremely close. She had gone through a 4-year bout with paranoid schizophrenia that hit her at a pretty late age in life. So the best way I could describe those 4 years was just gut-wrenching. 2 weeks before the incident, she had gone into an institution and they had put her on a new type of medication, and that was the first time on the journey that she became suicidal. And then 2 weeks later, it just didn't get fixed in time. So that was September of 2020. It was obviously a huge life-changing event for me. And I myself am an alcoholic. I've been sober 4 years now, so that's part of the story as well. So fast forward, I went through a lot after she passed. April of 2021, I moved into what is now the farmhouse. So it's right off 55th and Bales, so I'm in the heart of it. I'm in the heart of, the violence, the drugs, the homelessness. I'm right in the heart of it. After moving into the home, I knew I wanted to do something for my sister, so I planted a willow tree behind the home with their ashes. And that's where it all began. Shortly after that, if you know that area, there's the woods there, between Swope and Bales, and I have 2 acres behind my home. And so after I planted that tree, I kind of looked at the whole outlay and I said, you know what, I can put a farm back here, right on the block. And my sister's Instagram and email and social media stuff was Shady Phrase. And so it began. I decided to call it Shady Phrase Farm. My 20-year-old son was living there with me. Literally the next week, a friend of mine named Austin came, who was an alcoholic, suicidal, and he started going through withdrawal after he got there as we were building this thing. My neighbor's son across the street, we'll just call him Sean for today, but he was pretty heavily involved in the street stuff. He stumbled onto the farm, and the 4 of us just flat out went to work. We cut down trees from back there. We got as many pallets as we could. We cut the slits off the pallets. We built an entire fence by hand. We decided it's a farm, so we decided we better get some animals. So we went and got 2 potbelly pigs to start with, and then it just kind of went crazy from there. Sean saw a goat at that spot. A lady gave us the goat for free, so then we got another goat to go with that one. Now we got a baby goat. I've been through 2 litters of piglets at this point, about to have the 3rd. So it was an amazing journey. And as we started building this thing, people started coming. People started coming to the farm, and working through withdrawal. People started coming to the farm and just being able to stay sober. It started becoming known as like a place of healing. I was actually, 41 News came out and did a special on the farm this last summer as well. I had a Medicare job right before I moved into the farmhouse, and I just been through so much. I went on FMLA for that as I was building it. The farm's been going for about 1.5 years now. And over that 1.5 years, I've just been able to get by, with donations and some really good help from family. I've had some events at the farm. I just couldn't even tell. At this point, the amount of people that have been to the farm and beat addiction or suicide is just in the hundreds. The outreach throughout the entire state. I have people contact me from all over the state that have heard about the farm. All right, can I have 1 more minute? All right, thank you so much. The outreach has just been amazing with what I've even very limited in what I can do. So with that being said, I'll tell one last quick story and then I'm gonna say what I'm asking for. So this guy named Bobby, kind of got in contact with me. He had a fentanyl overdose, and he was dead for a pretty good amount of time before they brought him back. And after that, he became suicidal. And so, one day I'm out there working at the farm, and Bobby just shows up, and he said, you know what? He said, I was either going to kill myself today or come to the farm. And I looked at it, was just a beautiful day. I said, well, don't do that, man. It's way too nice of a day for that. And we just started working, and we just started going. And he's still going strong. So, that's just one story of what can be done. So what I need is, my plan is to build 3 tiny, and the mural that was done on the farm, the artist was alcoholic. He went on to do the entire Hy-Vee basement arena, if you've seen that. I need to build 3 tiny homes. I need to work on the animals' quarters. I need to get a couple people that I can pay a little money to help me. I need some merchandise. I need some website and social type of help, and some cameras for the animals and some different things like that. So what I'm asking for is $177,000 to start. And there's a certain reason I have that number in my head. And to me, that is, not even too much to ask just for one person. But I'm a person who can really do a lot with a little. And I know that once I get these things in place, that it's going to go, worldwide. And we're really going to be able to help a ton of people in this city. And I'm going to start putting farmhouses on different blocks and go there with mini ones. All of them can have some mini pigs and plants and grow their own food. So that's my ultimate goal. So I appreciate everyone's time so much. So very thankful to be here and speak, and thank you for the extra time.
All right, Latasha James.
Thank you. I'm going to come over here since sadly my person from 5th District was not able to make it, so we're going to represent 5th District right here. My name is Latasha, and I'm a small business owner. And when I listened to your story, Mr. Farmer, I've already forgot your name because Jeff, you had me at fentanyl overdose over there. It just reminds me what a big difference we make. And I know we've thinned out some, but how many people in here are small business owners? Okay, and then how many people shop at small businesses? Right? Because we as small business owners make a difference. We make a difference for people in small communities, like the young lady spoke in the wheelchair earlier today. Small businesses make a difference all over the place. And so I hear myself already ad-libbing, so let me stick to my script so that I do not, because I know I only have 5 minutes. And I did print off copies in case you guys start to drone off as I go. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a little different as I roll because sometimes you just have to speak. So, as I said, my name is Latasha. I'm an event planner and I'm in the 5th District. And when I first got the call to look at the Jackson County budget, I was pretty shocked to find that the county seemed to care more about remodeling offices than it did about small businesses, risking our savings, our health, our kids' college funds.
That's true.
Right? In order to create over 70% of the jobs. Because as you all saw, a lot of us are small business owners. And if we ourselves are not small business owners, we support and we shop and we put money into the community through those small businesses. So every small business owner who has fought to keep their doors open has been absolutely just furious, frustrated and angry when we're told that the county is choosing to use that money, that it was part of the $50 million in office remodels instead of supporting them. And I know some of you will be like, where did that money come from? Well, they applied for a grant and they put us in there. And so technically they never said we were gonna get it, but I know for myself, I assumed that when you applied for the grant and you put my name on it, that I was gonna get an opportunity to take a part of it. And so, no, you never said to us you were going to give it to us, but as small children, we heard we were going to get to go to the candy store, so we were wondering, when do we get to go? So, did you know, some of you here, that as much as 20% of every dollar that comes in our doors, it goes out in taxes? At this point in time, people feel that we trusted you guys to look out for us, that the county was going to be a part of that solution, and that small businesses here, we continue to beg for COVID dollars that were promised to the county because of the grants that you applied for. And this was free money that you were given, right? So it definitely feels like others and everyone else around us all understood the importance of this role for small businesses and the roles that they play, but Jackson County didn't hear us and didn't see us and forgot that we were here. So while we're struggling, and there's many of us who are wondering, how do we continue our education? How do we continue when we're struggling? Where do we reach out to, and what are the things that we need to do? You know, Nina's only one person in one county, in one city, but Jackson County can do more. And so I know we've heard Ezzy's name continuously this evening because he's part of a council, and he plays nice and he shakes hands and he kisses babies, right? But how thankful we should all be that, you know, the council doesn't have tons and tons of Ezzies, right? Because if everyone was like Ezzy, it would probably be a lot simpler because he's nicer than the rest of us. He's probably one of the few people holding the pitchforks back from the doors, right? But it's shocking because I think of other initiatives that had such guerrilla warfare, aggressive tactics, bringing 400 and 500 people to meetings like this to make sure that you heard us. And as he keeps telling us, don't do that. That's not how you play ball. But we're curious, what steps do we need to do to be heard for something that you put our name on to say we could get? So I'm not trying to be a butthead or an angry black woman that's like, where's my money? Because again, I know you did not promise it to me. But when my name was used to get it, I assume and would appreciate some support in that fall. I would assume and appreciate that it's used somewhere. You know, because if you were to do Control F in the budget and you look up small business or entrepreneur or any of the words that you would think would support us, they don't show up, guys. Well, that is my time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I just want you to know that we're not sad or confused. We're angry and frustrated. Thank you.
So, as I was reminded, which is a good point that I failed to acknowledge before, the current budget as proposed came from the county executive. So this process now has been the proactive effort of new legislators elected sent to the county to hear from the community. So as we talk about the process, this is literally what we're doing right now. So I understand the frustration and the anger, but no, we are here, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with another 8 added, here of 9 to hear you. So please understand that we are here to listen, take these priorities as we negotiate in the process, and find those opportunities to support. So I just want to make sure that that is directed, because at this point, we are here to listen. We've chosen to be here to do this. So yes.
And we do notice that. And I know this is out of my time, but I took a picture of who was here and who wasn't, because when it's time for election time, we know who shows up and we know who doesn't. And I see who isn't here to listen to that.
So, to continue our process, because well, I'm not even online here. Hold on. There we go. I want to make everyone aware, I think we have about 50 minutes of testimony and only 30 minutes before I think the library closes. So, I want to keep us rolling the best as we can, not to discredit any 5 minutes, but please hold to the best of your abilities to go as quickly as you can. Karis Harrington.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak before you. I'm going to say, just preface what I'm going to say because I don't want to hit too hard. I want to thank Ezzy for his dedication to entrepreneurism and to small businesses. Again, my name is Karis Harrington. I am Chief of Business Development for Kansas City Gift. I'm also Executive Board Member for the same organization. Kansas City Gift is a nonprofit that funds small Black-owned businesses in Kansas City's urban core. So I'm talking east of Troost, Gritty. That area that was redlined where we were denied access to capital, to resources, to housing. We have pushed right under $1 million worth of capital this last year, and it's not a drop in the bucket. We fund 2 businesses a month, either a $10,000 and a $25,000 grant or a $10,000 and a $50,000 grant. And when I tell you we get about 300, 350 applications every month, we are not doing enough because we don't have enough resources. Myself and my 2 co-founders raise money through individual donations. Yes, we get a little bit of foundation money. Yes, we get some grants. No, we're not a CDFI, but we work daily to scourge and scrounge for money that we give out. We also have a full-service business center located on 50th and Prospect. Again, right in the heart of the urban core, and all our services are free: accounting, bookkeeping, marketing, business coaching, a full media center, and co-working space. But even that isn't enough. I've known Ezzy for several years, and no one fights the fight harder than he does, but he shouldn't have to fight this fight alone. I probably don't have to say that I'm standing here in complete support of his $15.5 million proposal, I believe. We get the 5 or no? Okay, let's get the whole thing. But I want to impress upon you how our business owners, our Black business owners, are struggling. They are struggling because they've gotten, and I'm gonna use a colloquial term that may be inappropriate, but they get it out the mud because they have to. The reality is an organization like Kansas City Gift should not have to exist. There should be no place for us. But we come in and we slide in with the antithesis of what banks do, because we don't make people jump through hoops. We don't do credit checks. We don't make you bring 2 years of financials, because we want to show that our dedication is sincere, and we're a transparent organization. You can watch your dollars come in. We operate on $10 a month donations. You can watch your money come in, and you can go knock on the brick and mortar's door to the business that we fund. But I just want to impress upon you that whatever you see as the struggle, because you're not in the struggle every day like we are, it is severe. It's severe. I respect the passion and the anger, and I feel some of that frustration myself, but I do it every day. So I don't want to get frustrated. I want to be hopeful. So I want to end my little piece here, and I'll take my seat, and I'll go ahead and defer the rest of my time to someone else. But I want to end on a note of hope, because I know that you'll do the right thing. Allocation of $15 million isn't going to fix the problem, but it will get us further than we've ever been, and it will encourage those small Black-owned businesses to not have to go get the jobs at Amazon and Ford and GM, because they can do what they set out to do. Their dreams can be those components of the community that build a strong Black economic ecosystem. So I will relinquish the rest of my time. I said all that I have to say. Thank you.
Courtney Lee. Courtney Lee.
Well, those are 2 tough cookies to follow after. But to make this very short and quick, my name is Courtney Lee. I'm a small business owner here in Kansas City. Thank you for your time. I'm just here to lobby for that $15 million support. Small businesses are hurting. That's the facts. Unfortunately, it's the facts. You cannot stop operation. Nobody can stop operation for 6 months and expect to survive. And those are facts. You take it from resources that you shouldn't have taken them from. Those are facts. But hey, you keep going, right? And so yes, I want that $15 million. And if you could make that check out to me, that'd be nice. In reality, it's hard. So you have 2020 is when all of it started. You shut down everybody's operation and you tell everybody that, hey, you have to figure out how to survive. For example, unfortunately a data guy, so I use my own numbers. I went from doing over $400,000 a year in sales down to $12,000 in a month. Now, $400,000 a year in sales down to $12,000. That's a big impact. That's most of my operation. I'm operating at about 5% of the volume that I was operating at. Now, due to those circumstances, you also have debt, unfortunately, that you accrued, right? You have to go back out there and re-up on inventory, and being in a perishable business, because I'm unfortunately ill. You have to go out there and buy inventory, $45,000 hit of inventory. When you don't necessarily have it, you have to go sell through that volume again. Unfortunately, it's a combat. And then you have the surplus and the supply chain issues that actually occur as well, where you have increased costs and increased resources. So all my eggs is just for a little money. But that's it. That's for my time.
Thank you. Eric Mollenday.
So yeah, I'm here again. Izzy brought us all together. You can hear a little bit of an accent. I moved here about 5 years ago, and it's hard to be from a different country, living in, you know, my first language is French, and being able to find people like Izzy and have a business. I'm a videographer. I work with the mental health for people like Abraham, and I have Zeke right here. It's hard to be a small business owner, especially in like videography, entrepreneurship, and working with all these people. It's very hard. Like personally, I have to work 2 jobs to keep working and keep going. And people like Izzy will be like, hey, yeah, we got a job here. That's gonna be good for you. Are you free to come and do this? You know, and hearing about this opportunity, it's like, hey, why not? Like, we need that, and somebody like Izzy is exactly, you know, what people like me, Zeke, and everyone else in this room needs. So I'm here to support him, and that's what I'm here for. Thank you.
Mark Ward.
Mark Wood.
Wood. Hey, I'm giving what I've got. So.
I have bad handwriting too. And I'm not a public speaker at all. I'm Mark Wood. I'm a small business owner. I am not a public speaker, so please forgive me. I'm a construction worker. I own a roofing, gutter, and solar business. $15.5 million. We probably would benefit from an extra $50 million from the commercial office rehab that they want to do. So $65.5 million would be more in check. We need to get the city working. You know, we always talk about a lot of people not having jobs. Let's put the money back in the homeowners' pockets so the small business owners can start hiring more people to fix up our city. We got the World Cup coming. Let's make our city a pretty city. Let's make it look nice. Let's bring some confidence. Let's bring something back to Kansas City that the pandemic has taken away from the people. You know, everybody's been smoking dope and playing video games for the last 2 years. Let's put people back to work. You know what I mean? Let's help our community. And the last thing I want to say is, you know, Izzy, I met these guys the other day. You guys rock. You guys are what the city is all about. Getting together, you know, locking arms. We all lock arms. I'm Native American Indian. You can't tell, but I look like a white guy. I'm not. My wife's a Native American business owner. Let's get together. Let's get busy. Let's beautify the city. What the gentleman was talking about, I think he left, 100,000 homes that need help. What if we gave the tax, maybe we gave a tax incentive for people to start hiring small businesses to fix up their homes. They have an energy bill right now. If you have 80% of AMI, average medium income, you can get $8,000 for a heat pump. Let's put people back to work again. Let's train these guys coming out of high school. Nigel is an amazing business, helping kids help themselves. Last thing I want to say, Frank White Jr. for the $1 million for transporting people to go across the border that takes the lives of 5.5-month-old babies. Let's get the education in the schools. My cousin was raped. She did the day after pill. She did not have a pregnancy. Let's get the education back in the schools for these children to have an option. Thank you.
Amanda Brown.
So I'm a small business owner and I'm at ESI. I'm here to support the proposal. I've also had the opportunity to work with Give KC to help me grow my small business in ways I didn't even know I needed to explore. So I just sit here to say I'm in support of that bill. I'm also with a proposal. I'm also in support of Hope Faith Ministries because about 10 years ago, I was a houseless person and I did have a job and I did have a car. Unfortunately, I had gotten a car wreck. So I personally use those services and I can say I went from a homeless person to a small business owner. And we do need those opportunities. A lot of us don't even know what we're doing. We just know we're passionate about something. And we want the opportunity to serve our community. So that's it for me.
As I remind you, please sign up in the back. Rhonda Gibson.
She's over here. Actually, better known as Sash Kaya, and I just briefly, you see I talk really loud.
It's for the recording.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't have a lot to say. Everything that I was going to say has been said. I'm some partners. I'm over the United Trade Council, ambassador at United Trade Council. We started out as the Reginald Gibson Memorial Foundation and been in Kansas City since about 88, 89, and working mostly behind the scenes, building, and helping a lot of people individually and some collectively, and started a lot of different things like the 7 Days of Kwanzaa that now takes place in the Gym Theater every year. This is some of the things that we contributed to over the years. However, I just really wanted to say the small businesses are the glue. It's the glue. It really connects with all across the board with the different genres in life with the businesses. And this is something that needs to be supported because it touches everything and it strengthens everything. It's the core. So, as I said, I work directly most of the time with Josh and Nigel, and these are some awesome individuals. And I've heard all of these things that you've said tonight. And again, it sounds like, in so many words, we agree that the small businesses are the glue. So I'm definitely in support of that proposal. Thank you.
Ezzy Redwood.
All right.
I don't know what you're going to propose.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
All right. It's funny listening to what people say. One of the things that I think struck me the most was Latasha, she left. But, if some of you know me, you know that I have in the past come through with several hundred entrepreneurs and taken over and shut down things. The reason I've been against it here is because, I'm not going to bring 400 or 500 entrepreneurs because I believe in the people who are up here. And I think that we can work with them. And so I believe in taking a significantly more collaborative approach. I think they are new. They're inheriting a lot of problems, as Manny has said. And so I'm generally, I want to be supportive and an advocate of them and work with them and work with Troy on this 15 million. I appreciate you, Troy. We'll be talking again. And so, I do want to take that approach, and that's why, for some of you who maybe have known old Ezzy, I'm taking a much more, I believe in them, and so I'm not coming in with 400 entrepreneurs. And then to the legislature, I just want to say, I appreciate your time. One of the things I want to point out, though, is that the entrepreneur support organizations who are in the trenches helping these small businesses survive and thrive, helping them with the resources, helping them with everything from budgeting to looking out for legal issues and everything that can kill them, they're, including the proposal, they're struggling, right? You hear some of them who've been here talk about how they're paying out of their own pockets. And they have to, what they don't tell you is that they're having to work other jobs to have that money to pay their people to support the businesses with their needs that include survival, right? And if those businesses can make it past that second year, then they're going to start hiring more. And as Karis can attest to, that growth in jobs becomes exponential after that, but they have to survive that. Yes. And that's where organizations like what Karis does or some of the other people who are here have done. And so they need that support. When we say small business support, it's not saying hey, we're gonna give $1 to every small business. It's saying hey, we gotta support the organizations that support the entrepreneurs and help them grow and scale, deal with mental health issues, help them connect with people in the community better. And the last thing I'd point out is that these small businesses, it's not an expense, it's an investment. And the reason I say that is because the small businesses are one of the leading contributors to the sales tax, right? So rather than shop on Amazon, people will come to the business because they have that relationship with them and they know them. And so then we capture that sales tax. These small businesses are also on triple net leases. So that means that they're paying the 40% increases in the building rents, for example. They're paying that property tax because that property tax is factored into the lease. So the owners of these properties aren't paying those. It's the people who rent those, which are the small businesses, right? And additionally, the small businesses are actually paying property tax on every piece of equipment and inventory that they get, right? So they're paying property tax on every non-fix. So if it can be moved, if they move, then they're paying property tax on it. They're paying property tax on the inventory that they have, and then they're paying the sales tax on every good that they bring in to either assemble or resell, and then their customer is paying the sales tax. But a lot of times, because of inflation, especially during COVID, they can't just pass that cost along to the consumer. They have to eat that sales tax. So that's an 11.75% down to 8.53%, depending on if you're in unincorporated areas or if you're in the city. That small business is eating, which is why up to 20% of every dollar that comes in is going out in taxes, right? So being in Missouri and being in Jackson County is one of the least friendly places for small businesses already. The rules are slammed against them, and so it's up to us to make sure that we're doing what we can to support them so that we can get off of the list of being second to last place for small businesses to survive in the country. Thank you.
As you had 20 seconds left. John Sharp.
Thank you very much. I'm John Sharp. I'm a resident of Kansas City and Jackson County and reside in the Hickman Mills School District. And I'm sorry I didn't get here a little earlier. I was at a meeting of the Hickman Mills School Board tonight where your chair was honored for his past service as president of the Hickman Mills School Board. So I'd like to thank the legislature for having these budget hearings around the county. So it's convenient for people to be able to come to them at night and not have to go downtown to Kansas City or Independence during the day. But I would like to address an issue that I know a lot of people are concerned about, and we talked about quite a bit during the campaign, and it's an issue of basic fairness. Because as you know, but most people I'm sure here don't, every county in the state, except Jackson County, is required by state law to spend 25% of the county road and bridge taxes that are collected on property in cities in those counties on projects in the cities. Not 100%, but just at least 25%. But Jackson County was able to amend state law many years ago and get the county exempted from that. Now for years, even though they didn't have to do it, the county did spend 25% of the county road and bridge taxes collected in cities on street and bridge projects in those cities that were high priority and also benefited citizens of the county that lived in unincorporated areas nearby. And in fact, some of you may remember when Longview Road in the Hickman Mills, Ruskin area was widened. It used to be just a little 2-lane asphalt road, no sidewalks, no curbs, and people would be out walking in the street because there was nowhere else to walk because there were ditches on either side. But it was county urban road system funding. When I was on the city council, I knew about it, and really we pressed for it, and that paid for a big chunk of that project. So what I'm respectfully requesting is that the county amend the budget and reestablish a program like the County Urban Road System Program, where at least 25% of the money collected on property taxes in the cities in the county is spent on high priority street and bridge projects in those cities. And that will benefit the great majority of county citizens, because the great majority of county citizens live in cities in the county, in Kansas City or Raytown or Grandview or Lee Summit or Independence. We pay county taxes too, and we would just like to be treated fairly. If that has to be phased in because of projects that you're already committed to that are multi-year projects, we understand that. But I respectfully ask that you give it due consideration, because we've got so many street and bridge needs that are safety issues, and we just don't have enough funding to do it from the cities themselves. But if we could just get 25% back, like counties, every other county in the state has to do, we would greatly appreciate it, and I think the great bulk of your constituents would appreciate it too. Thank you so much.
Jeff George.
Gracias. Blessings to everyone. There is a solution. I've recently become a money loan broker, also a real estate investor. I'm basically a serial entrepreneur, so when you look up that word in the dictionary, you should see my face. I'm very concerned about everything I've heard here today. You hear it over and over again. You need funding, you need funding, you need funding. But please understand something. You have to understand economics and the way the system is set up here in America and in each state. There's a methodology, there's a blueprint to getting funded. It's nice to get grants. Yeah, we all want grants, we all want free money. The system is set up dynamically a way, but you have to come into that system and understand those principles. It's called business credit. If you have an EIN number, you have a business name, you have a business checking account, you have a business email, you can get funded upwards of $100,000 every year or periodically throughout the year. This is not trigonometry and calculus. This is basic math. You have to set you up a business profile, and you'll see your business credit grow up to over $100,000 in 12 months. I'm in the process of setting up groups of 7 people who are going to work together as one, because that's power. Again, this is real simple math. It's good to have funding, it's good to have grants, those things help too. I have a nonprofit organization and I have several businesses that I'm basically in the process of launching. But please understand the way business credit works. You know, when your profile is set up, the banking institution has an algorithm, and they're watching the way you do business. And as you gradually grow and you're taking care of your responsibilities economically, you're paying your bills, they're extending you more and more and more and more and more credit. As much credit as you can handle. So, as a business coach, a business consultant, I'm here to help, and I want to show you how this works. God bless.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. I believe our chair would like to close us out this evening, but as budget chair, I hope you'll stay engaged in the process along the way. We have a long road to passage, and I believe next Monday is when it's going to be introduced, possibly following up after that, if necessary, to get us to our end of this month process. There is one more event for a budget hearing, Saturday, remind me the time.
1 to 3 p.m.
1 to 3 p.m. at Mohart Center. So I'll turn it over to our chairman.
Well, thank you. Sorry. Thank you. First, I just want to say thank you for coming out. I know it's late in the evening, but I just want to thank you. I know there was a lot of comments made today. And I know there was a lot of opinions expressed. We hear you. This has never really been done before, so we are new. We all got sworn in January 1st. We're trying to get a handle on this process. So I don't want you kind of to think that we're, giving you all the runaround, because we're trying to hear from you. That's what this process is about. We had a hearing Tuesday in Lee Summit. We're here tonight. Saturday we are at Mohart, as Legislator Barker said. So we really want this process to be interactive. We've heard from you. We're going to try to incorporate this in our budget amendment. And so I just want you to know that this was not a futile effort. This is an effort that we really are genuine about hearing from the people that we represent. So thank you again. Thank you. And if you have people that were not able to make it tonight, hopefully they can make it Saturday. Thank you again for coming out, and I appreciate your time.